Hello folks, shintigercurl here, that dude in a straw hat, bringing you yet another wrestling review. And as you can see, it's Halloween, so I decided to get into the spirit of things by dressing up in a costume. As you can see, I'm Paddington Bear, or what I could afford at the time. It's a nice costume, but it's hot as hell in here. Anyway, and of course joining me is my good friend and fellow internet superstar Joe. Say hi, Joe. You look like a bloody paunch. You're just mad because that Captain Jack Sparrow costume you wanted didn't come in till later. Whatever, you can do this show alone for all I care. I'm gonna go out now and get me some treats. First, a little rum to get the evening started. Thought you said you weren't doing a Jack Sparrow costume since you didn't have it. Who said anything about a costume? I just want to get tore up. See what I have to deal with? But anyway, it's Monday night. You know what that means. Time for some Raw. Then, what will be The Rock's answer to John Cena's request to be a tag team partner? I got my notes. Let's get started. The Rock comes out, well, on a pre-taped promo, and pretty much says that while every fiber in his being doesn't like John Cena, and he can go tell Cena to go stuff himself, the people want Cena to be his partner. Well, of course, Rocky can't deny the people what they want. So, he decides, yes, he will be his partner. Never before, and never again. Of course, this is a great promo by The Rock. You really can't go wrong with the guy. So we segue into our first match. CM Punk versus Mark Henry. Punk comes out wearing Jack Burton's t-shirt from Big Trouble in Little China. Hail Punk. But, then Johnny Laurinaitis comes out, and he says that if Punk wins, he gets a title shot at Del Rio. This was a decent match from the start, but then Del Rio and Ricardo Rodriguez interfere. Well, more like Ricardo has a death wish as he goes attacking Mark Henry, thus disqualifying CM Punk. Punk gets mad and attempts to beat up Ricardo, but in the end he decides to feed him to the man-beast known as Mark Henry. That guy really needs hazard pay. Next up, the Muppets come out. Yes, the Muppets will be on for the show tonight. Miss Piggy and Kermit come out, introducing themselves, looking awesome as ever, until Vicky and Jack Swagger come out. Vicky Guerrero versus Miss Piggy, WrestleMania, make it happen! There's some trash talk back and forth until Santino comes out and informs Swagger that he has a match against him later tonight, as Dolph has another match against Zack Ryder. Then Kelly comes out, wearing a pirate outfit, kissing Kermit the Frog. Keep those lips to yourself, man. You don't want a piece of Miss Piggy. We segue into a Divas Costume Battle Royal, with the winner becoming #1 contender. This was a terrible match. Didn't really care for it. The costumes looked tacky. But in the end, Eve Torres won by throwing Natalya through the ropes. Yes, you heard me. She won by throwing her through the ropes. I have no problem with Eve Torres. She's actually a pretty decent wrestler. I loved her. I loved her work in the last pay-per-view at Vengeance, and I hope to see a good match out of these two again at Survivor Series in 3 weeks. Moving on, Beaker and Bunsen make an appearance, as Bunsen tells Beaker to deliver a special formula to Zack Ryder for his challenge, for his match tonight. Beaker goes out to give the formula, but he's run afoul of Christian. Christian pours the junk out, and he looks like he's going to bash in Beaker's head in. But fortunately, Sheamus is there. Turns out that Sheamus and Beaker are related. What are the odds? Well, they do kind of resemble each other, although Beaker is a bit darker. We segue to our next match, the Born Kings versus Way Barrett. and Dr. Doom Cody Rhodes, with the old guys providing a little commentary. I love those old guys, Statler and Waldorf. Anyway, this was a pretty good tag team match, but in the end, surprisingly enough, Doom and Barrett and old Marble Mouth pull out the win. Christian comes out and they turn in on a beatdown of the tag champs when Sheamus comes out looking for a little revenge for his little cousin, Beaker. Good match. Next up, backstage, Punk confronts Johnny Ace about what happened out there at his match. Johnny Ace says that as long as Del Rio agrees to give him the match, he has the match. Punk's evil mind is at work, and it will be awesome. Next up is Alberto Del Rio versus The Big Show. I was expecting the usual typical Big Show squash match, but damn it, this was probably the best match of the night. Del Rio really brought it to Big Show. He took it to him with a variety of submission moves, and he just took everything the Big Show could dish out to him. Say what you want about the guy being boring as a champion. He can take bumps like a nobody's business. After a long, grueling match for both guys, Del Rio gets knocked out, which is a shame, and gets pinned 1-2-3. Punk comes out. He says that, and he wakes Del Rio up saying that he will agree to give his title match while putting him in the Anaconda Vice. He locks it in, and Del Rio agrees. So, Punk got his title match. Good for him. Next up, Santino Marella versus Jack Swagger, with Animal as the timekeeper. You can't get no better than that. This is a pretty decent match for what it was, until Beaker comes out, hands Santino the vial of super juice that Bunsen made, and he apparently he didn't like the taste of it and immediately spits it out in Jack Swagger's face, giving Santino the win. Congratulations, John Morrison. You are officially you job worse than Santino Marella. Next up, Zack Ryder versus Dolph Ziggler. This is a pretty great match. Ziggler sells the match pretty well, and Ryder is really over with the crowd. At one point, it looked like he was going to win, but Ziggler was able to get his foot on the ropes. Thus, the decision got reversed, and the match kept going. Ryder lands the zigzag and picks up the win. 1-2-3. Long Island IC wins. Woo, that match. You know it. As you can see, Joe is sauced to the gills. Take care, spike your hair, you bastards! I'm gonna need a lot of sawdust tonight. Well, anyway, moving on. Michael Cole stands up and does his best to humiliate JR, who is said to be out with a medical condition. God damn you, Cole. I'll kick your ass one of these days. Then, the Statler and Waldorf heckle Michael Cole, saying... Heckle Michael Cole... Excuse me, sorry, that's the phone. My bad. Heckle Michael Cole and stating that what's worse than Michael Cole... Is there anything what's worse than Michael Cole's commentating? Nothing! I love those two old guys. Then The Miz comes out, and they heckle them too, saying that one guy, Statler, I think it was, said, you know, man, you can't see me. Oh, I can't see anything. I'm blind. Well, considering this is a John Cena versus The Miz match, you're probably lucking out. You're probably lucked out. Oh! Ho, 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 ho. I love those two. Anyway, this was just standard Cena-Miz match. Cena doing his best to overcome the odds and blah, blah, blah. They fight outside the ring until until a fan attacks wearing a wearing a ghost face mask. I wonder who it could be. Cena, of course, fights out of this, lands the STF, picks up the win. Of course, Cena wins. Then the Mr. Ghostface jumps in the ring. He gets an FU for his trouble. Turns out, it's R-Truth. Dun dun dun! If you didn't see that coming, you haven't been watching a lot of professional wrestling. But anyway, that's Raw. My thoughts? It's a pretty damn entertaining show. The Muppets, for what they weren't annoying enough to me, and there was a lot of great little segments. All the Muppets came out, and it was a great time. I especially loved anything with Miss Piggy, especially when she hit Hornswoggle. Thank God. And of course, there was a part where Cody Rhodes actually bagged Kermit the Frog. Instant heel heat. And of course, we're moving on to my D-Cell Battery Award. And tonight's D-Cell Battery Award goes to King and Michael Cole. God damn it, every time they tried to be funny, it came off as flat. Normally I give just to Michael Cole, but King, you suck tonight too. God damn both of you. And now my new award, the Jizz in My Pants Award, for a moment that made me jizz in my pants. And that goes to Waldorf and Stantler for ripping on John Cena and Michael Cole and pretty much anyone who got in their way. And there's that. So, that's Raw. Tune in Friday when I review SmackDown. What will be the title? What will be the status of the title situation for Mark Henry? Who will be his next challenger? But until then, this is shintigercurl, that dude in the straw hat, and Joe. I can't feel my legs. Lot of sawdust. Saying good night and wrestle on.